I'm WVTM 13 Chief Meteorologist Jason Simpson. Tropical storm Idalia going to be the big topic of conversation for the next several days in the weather world and in a lot of other worlds too, especially if you have interest in Florida. This is the 4 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center at the top of the screen here. Wind speed at 70 miles per hour. I think we're probably going to find this thing as a hurricane, as hurricane reconnaissance goes through that this evening. Certainly by early Tuesday morning, it's likely that it's a hurricane. And this is one of the latest forecast models that we have showing the intensity of the wind, potential rapid intensification here. Likely at least a Category 3 hurricane as it makes landfall somewhere in the region of what many call the Forgotten Coast of Florida. That would be north of Tampa and to the east of Apalachicola, around the bend through places like St. Mark's, Cedar Key, Crystal River. Wind gusts here could be in the neighborhood of 140 to 150 miles per hour. And the real issue, other than the wind, may be incredible storm surge in this area, including Tampa Bay. Remember last year with Hurricane Ian, the bay was swept out. The water was pulling out of the bay because it was on the north side. Well, this time it's on the south side of the storm, and that wind is going to be funneling up into Tampa Bay. So a different kind of situation here. Luckily for Tampa itself, the worst looks like it's going to be a little bit north in the more rural communities. But, of course, for those rural communities, think about Mexico Beach and Port St. Joe and North Florida after Hurricane Michael several years ago. This could be a very bad situation there in North Florida. Then it moves off the East Coast, and something interesting could happen with this. Back in 2004, Hurricane Ivan made landfall, went up through the Carolinas, and then came back into the Gulf. Some of our guidance is trying to pull a piece of this back in the Gulf of Mexico within the next 10 to 15 days. So we may not be completely finished with this one, even as the storm dissipates. So where's the rain going to happen? Well, primarily all the effects we think are near and on the right-hand side of the track. So if we were to draw the center line here, which we've sort of removed just because it's not the best idea to focus on the line, but to the right of this line, this is where the greatest wind, severe weather, and heavy rain threat would be. In fact, if you look carefully, there are some places that our forecast guidance is suggesting more than 10 to 15 inches of rainfall. Around Alabama, on the other hand, what we're getting here is cold front rain. There's a weak front moving through that's going to tangle with this, and that's why it shifts it off toward the east pretty quickly. So here's the official 4 p.m. track from the National Hurricane Center. Major hurricane hitting land between St. Mark's and Cedar Key early Wednesday, and then it's going to move up into South Georgia and the Carolinas. Behind that, for us, since we're on the drier side of the storm, we get some drier air, but yeah, look at that. There's a little pinch of moisture that tries to come back up through here Friday into Saturday and Sunday. Can't rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Now, closer to home, isolated storms are a possibility going into tomorrow, Tuesday night. The better chance of a storm mainly east of Interstate 65 in our local 7-day forecast. High temps in the 80s. And behind that storm, as it goes up the East Coast, well, we generally stay dry and true to form. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, mostly dry. Lower humidity Wednesday, Thursday, an isolated storm or two going into Friday and the weekend.